Standing no business when it's mine. I've been learning how to listen, but it's taking time. Everybody got advice, but nobody wanna pay the cost.
This is Fathers Unmuted, where we're connecting with fathers that feel like they do not have a voice, letting them know that they can be heard. How can they be heard, right? By connecting and listening to this podcast and hearing certain solutions to any problem that you may have. Listen, today I have yours truly, Rihanna Jock, the CEO of Omni Consulting LLC. And with that company and with her in general, she's helped over 2,000 clients since 2020, offering legal document preparations and services. So you're talking like divorces, time sharing, visitation, child support, notaring. 7+ years with the corporate America doing this, where she would run into fathers that come to her desk crying in tears because they're trying to figure out how can they connect to their child. So she realized, listen, I need to create a business so that I can be the solution to every person that needs me. How are you doing?
I am well. Nice to meet you.
Thank you for connecting with us. So talk to me real quick. Talk to me first. Tell me about Omni Consulting.
All right. So as you just stated, so it is legal document preparation. So basically, I do family law, but I am not a lawyer. So do not get it twisted. I'm not a lawyer or an attorney. So I do everything regarding family law, divorces, time sharing, visitation, child support, legal guardianship, name changes, anything that's regarding family, I do that. My bread and butter, number two, actually comes from divorces, unfortunately. I do try to talk people out of those, though.
Really?
I've only been successful about 6 times. But that's still
When they say no.
right. And then my bread and butter, my number one service is time sharing and parenting plans. So what I do there is I do have women, but it's mainly men to establish court orders so that they can have a relationship with their children without the mom being able to interfere. And because I used to work for child support, it's a benefit to them because the majority of my clients do not pay child support. And if they were paying, it is significantly reduced to most of the time zero or an amount that they don't really care about because I'm saying like I've had people come out paying $9, $23. It's a major difference than what they're accustomed to paying. But that's not the goal of my business, is to get people off of child support. It is to make sure that children can maintain a relationship between both of their parents, even if the relationship dissolves.
I love that. So over 2,000 people.
Yes. And I started in June of 2020. Honestly, I was trying to pandemic-proof my life. So, people... And I was still working for child support then, and I seen people losing their jobs. My sister lost her job. She became an entrepreneur. My daughter was 15 or 16 at the time. She became an entrepreneur, and everybody was so successful. Now, child support never closed their doors during the pandemic. They just sent us to work at home. They never stopped collecting their money or expecting their money. But I was thinking, what if something happened? What can I do? And then when I was actually working for child support, what I do now, I actually used to do it for free because people used to come, like you said, men used to be in tears crying and child support is taking over their lives. And I used to say, you can go to the courthouse and it's a packet. But then they didn't know how to fill out a packet because it's hundreds and hundreds of papers. And I used to be like, okay, well, you can meet me at the Starbucks. And I used to do it for free. And then during the pandemic, I was like, I wonder if people will pay me. My first client, I think they probably paid me $50 for my service. Then my first divorce that I ever did was $75. But of course the fees have went up, but I am still very much affordable. You don't even pay a fraction. Like my fee is not even a fraction of what somebody would pay an attorney. Mm-hmm. And they get most of the time better results because, I care a little more. I'm not saying attorneys don't care. Let me give a disclaimer. The attorneys went to school. They got their PhDs. Right. They charge what they need to charge. But for family law, you do not need to pay that much. If you want to see your kid, nobody should be charging you that much is how I see it. Now, if you fighting for freedom because you about to be sentenced to life, please hire a lawyer. But family law, y'all can come to Brianna at Omni Consulting.
Gotcha. So I'm gonna say it for you.
All right.
All right. Lawyers, they just want your money. They just want your money. And they may not give you what's best at heart. They just doing whatever that sounds good. So
And then in all honesty, so shout out, I can think of about 6 lawyers who they will do a consultation with a client, and they do charge for their consultation, but then the client will realize that they cannot afford a lawyer. The lawyers refer them to Omni Consulting for services. And I can't even call it a consultation because I'm not a lawyer, but I do a free 15-minute phone conversation with everybody.
so let's talk about this, right?
Yes.
What's that one story that had you within those 7 years that had you like, I need to start my own, like that one story that hit your heart that was like, oh my goodness, I can't believe this happened to him or her, and had you like, I'm going to start Omni Consulting?
It's not just one story. It's cumulative. It's like a collection of stories. So it's the same thing being repeated. So, okay, let me tell y'all this. This is why I help women too. I do believe that child support is necessary for fathers who are not active or parents who are not active, because women can be put on child support too. But child support should not be for failed relationships. And me working at child support, I can honestly tell y'all, probably about 95% of people that are on child support, they need to be. But my business helps those 5% that don't deserve to be. So you're an active dad, you're taking care of your kid, and then because your baby mama, and I don't know, people don't really like that term, but people use that a lot in my office, because your baby mama is bitter or her friends or her family told her she can get this or get that. Now you're on child support. But then the sad part is most men believe that, okay, well, I'm no longer in a relationship with the mother of my child, so I'm supposed to be on child support, because they think that's how the law works. But it really doesn't, because what child support takes out is the time sharing aspect. At Florida Department of Revenue Child Support Program, they are not interested in you seeing your child ever. You can pay child support and never see your child, but that's the part that I did not like. Men coming in crying, I'm paying out, like, men, people, I don't really want to say men because it's women, it happens to women too, just not as much, but they lose their livelihood from having to pay child support. Because what I say, the child support order doesn't say pay if you like it, pay if you got it, pay if you want to, pay if you agree. It just says pay, and they don't even give a grace period. If it's due, it's due on the 1st or the 15th. You got to pay, and if you don't, the computer is already programmed to move forward with other actions. So the men who believe, oh, my baby mama got my license suspended, my baby mama got me in court for contempt, it's not. It's the computer. But you don't really have to be on child support if you don't deserve to be. So I do not help men who want to avoid child support. Right. Please know that. I help men who want a relationship with their children, but you don't have to be on child support to come to me. Actually, because I'm so known in the Central Florida area, most men come and they serve their baby mama before the baby mama can even serve them. Because we just want you to be with your children. So the sad part, the saddest stories, not even stemming from the child support, it's, hey, I'm no longer with the mother of my child, but she refusing to let me see my child. I can't talk to my child. I miss my child's birthday. I've had clients who've had Christmas presents in their closet for their children for a couple of years, but they don't know that they can file paperwork in the court, and you can alternate Christmases, you alternate Thanksgivings, you alternate birthdays. In the state of Florida, it is presumed that a man has equal rights of the child. Unfortunately, when the governor set that law a few years ago, they didn't define what the rights are. But that's why you come to Omni Consulting, and we help you get a court order where you define the rights. A man can do just as much, if everything, that the mom can do for their child. So that's what at Omni Consulting, what we're fighting for, to make sure that men get to maintain the right that they don't really even realize that they have already.
Yeah. So why is it that we are not aware or not educated in that? Because I feel like mothers, and nothing to mothers, so no take it wrong,
Right.
but I feel like they make sure they very in depth into learning it. Like, what is it that about us men that we run away from it till it's too late?
I mean, I think it's an ignorant thing, and then not even to bring race into it, because I help every race, every ethnicity. That's not a thing, but I have to be honest. The majority of my clients are Black men. So one, Black men don't want to go into court. You tell them, hey, you can go to as soon as you say court or a judge, that's not what they want to do. So they don't try to educate themselves. But then, they have a auntie, a cousin, or a mama who be like, I've heard of a woman, and this is what she's doing for men. When men, I have men that come into my office and they cry too. Not because their life is just so messed up, but because they didn't even know that it's a woman like me that's willing to help them. So again, I'm not a lawyer. I cannot give any legal advice at all. And if I'm to be honest, nothing that I tell people is something that cannot be found on a Google search. But most people just don't know, or even they just don't know how to interpret it or how it works in their favor. But I think it's most men, they just, because they did used to be like that. The mom carried the baby for the 9 months. Moms breastfeed, moms do this, moms do that. But guess what, man? Y'all can do the same thing. And I mean, I know men personally who they're there from day one of their child's birth until, they reach adulthood, sharing in the same responsibility. But I think most men just don't believe. And even it, a cultural thing. So, it's typical that if a relationship dissolves or a marriage ends, the kids go stay with their mom. In the state of Florida, that's not how they see it. In the state of Florida, actually, they see it that it's a 50-50 vibe. When women call me and they want to get a divorce, I always ask them, what do you want the outcome to be when it comes to the children? And most women will say, oh, the kid's gonna live with me and go to the daddy every other weekend. And I tell them, if the dad fights for 50-50 and he has the means to do so, meaning all he got to do is live in the same vicinity, he can get the kids to and from school, he's going to get 50-50. So I think it's most people are just ignorant. They don't know they don't know how the law works concerning men, because Florida was called a woman's state.
Right.
But that went out of the window a long time ago, and I don't think people really know that. We went out a long
Because I was about to say, I just had a conversation with a friend of mine, and whatever his situation is, he was like, man, like, it's always going to be whatever the woman says. They're always going to win. It's against us.
Right.
I know you hear that a lot.
Right. I get some people, man, I have had men call me for my help, but really they're emotional, and I had to give grace to them. But they're emotional about their situation and take it out on me because I'm a woman, I suppose. So I just let them. So what they do, I tell them, okay, this is how it's going to work. This is what it is. But they already got the ignorance in their mind that it's not going to work in my favor, but you still called me, so you're still inquisitive. So then what they'll do is they'll get upset. I probably won't hear from them for a couple months. And I'm giving a testimonial of like a nice way, but I've been cursed out by men because they be like,
be honest.
oh, okay. It doesn't work in my favor. That's not true. But then they go, they see what's out there. They probably call some lawyers. Lawyers give them their prices. Lawyers can kind of say, well, yeah, it can lean towards you, but nonetheless, they'll call me back. And then they end up with 50-50. Those are actually one of my favorite kind of people to do, the people that doubt me. Right. And then my number one favorite is the baby mama that doubt me, because I done had baby mamas call me after they get served because my name is on everybody's paperwork. And they be like, oh, you think they might have given a man 50-50 of my baby? And I'd be like, yes, I know they are. So I love those kind of success stories too. And then what I will say, so as long as people hear me out, and again, I'm not a lawyer, but I can kind of say, okay, this is how the process goes. As long as they listen to me and follow the process, I'm 100% successful.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah. So first of all, before we even continue, where can they connect with you? Because I know they're here in Omni Consulting LLC. So how do they connect with you? Because that's huge.
So I'm gonna be honest, y'all. I'm old, kind of. Yesterday I just turned 45. I do not have, thank you. I do not have TikTok, which my adult children have. They keep trying to get me on TikTok, but I don't have that. So Yeah, let's say that. Not yet. All right. So I actually have a Facebook page, and you can look Omni Consulting. But y'all can just call me. I'm pretty transparent. I have a business phone that's a cell phone. Y'all can call me, text me 407-520-4614. My office is located downtown Orlando, Florida, but I assist the entire state of Florida. So if you're willing to drive to Orlando, I would love to assist you with booking an appointment. Or we can do everything virtual or through the internet.
There you go. So by any means, there's no excuse. There's no excuse. She gave you the number. She told you the location, and we live in the time that Zoom is one.
Correct.
So no excuse. Let me ask you this. So how is child support actually calculated? Is there like a certain calculation? Because
Yes. So child support, and it doesn't matter if you hire a lawyer or not. I like to tell people that you can hire Johnny Cochran, you can resurrect him from the dead. It does not change the child support calculator. No, because some people think that you have to have a lawyer. Well, because I want people to see what I'm saying. Okay, the calculator is the same regardless. So what I also tell people, the child support calculator is the same if your baby mama go down to the Department of Revenue child support program, and the calculator is the same if you file your own case. But this is the difference. The child support calculator is your income. Well, it's the mom's income and the dad's income and the needs of the child. The needs of the child by law. Only thing that goes on the calculator are health insurance, dental insurance, and daycare. So if somebody pays those, whoever pays those, the credit goes in their bucket. If y'all split it equally, it's equally in the bucket. If it's zero, because some people do get Medicaid, things like that, nobody gets credit, but no problem. But this is a kicker that separates you filing it yourself in the court or going through Department of Revenue, the time sharing aspect. So Florida Department of Revenue automatically puts the mom, because this is who put people on child support majority of the time, they automatically give them 100% time sharing. The dad gets 0%. Even if you the best daddy in the world, you get your baby, you split the responsibility, but if you don't have a court order, you get 0 credit. And then what I tell people, because some people, they don't want to come to me at first. They want to see what child support gonna say. No problem. I'll just let them do that. But then what I said ended up coming true, and they still become my clients. But they believe that the baby mama, who already filed to put them on child support, is going to go to the court and say, yes, he's a great dad. Please give him 50% so I can get less money, even though I applied for child support. Not going to happen. So it's everybody's income, the needs of the child, and time sharing. So that's where Omni Consulting comes in, because we taking 100% from the mom and giving it 50-50. So what it looks like, the men get 182 overnights, the mom gets 183, and it changes the outcome of the court order. So if you're already on child support, when you establish your time sharing, that's a legal reason to modify. Some people think you modify it because you don't like the amount, you can't afford it, you lost your job. People don't care nothing about that. If you do lose your job, you have to probably be unemployed for at least 12 months for them to even consider trying to. People call me. If somebody call me and all they want to do is modify child support, I don't do it, because you got to be able to add time sharing. Time sharing percentage is a major factor. So I'm going to give y'all a true story. Unfortunately, at one time in my life, I gave a man 3 children. He's part of that 95%. And I know people are going to watch this and report it to him, but it's okay. We have mutual feelings about each other. Our children are adults, though, and then we have 1 teenager. But nonetheless, at one time, I put a man on child support. They ordered him to pay me $1,100 a month for our 3 children. He cheated on me with a really smart girl, and she helped him take me to court to do the exact same thing that I help men do today. Now, this is before I was working for child support. So I actually learned about these time sharing orders through my own case. So when I got the paperwork, and it still says it's the exact same paperwork to this day, y'all. Nothing has changed. When I got the paperwork, I was like, oh, he just want to get his kids. So I went all for it, signed everything I needed to sign, went through the process. He was only seeking 40% time sharing, so I have 60%. He has 40%. So all of that went through. Next thing I know, I got a court order that my child support was being modified because he added 40% time sharing. His $1,100 a month went down to $60 a week for 3 children. That's how the percentage works when it comes to time sharing. And guess what? I could not take him back to court to modify it to get an increase because they were always going to put he has 40% time sharing, because once you get time sharing, only you can mess that up. It has to be like, if they modify a time sharing arrangement, something bad happened. Somebody messed up. And in 6 years of doing this, almost, I've never had anybody get their time sharing taken away. Because if you mess it up, you mess it up. It's hard to come back from that. But it's hard to modify it. So I couldn't say, well, he really don't even come get the kids. Let me go and get an increase on. No, not gonna happen. So the time sharing orders are from now until every kid on the time sharing order is 18. Now, if he would have became an NFL player or something like that, of course, he would end up probably paying child support, because remember, it's by income. But if two parties have similar incomes, and that's usually the case, and then 50-50 or even 60-40, you're not really going to see a high child support number.
So I have a question with that. Well, I have 2 questions. So the visitation is automatically 100 to 0, right?
Yes.
What makes it, or is it the father or whoever files that make it where it's 50-50 or 60-40?
You got to come to Omni Consulting
I like how you.
so that we can assist you.
Great question. Great answer. Great answer.
We can assist you to change that to 50-50. So it's 2 types of child support cases in the state of Florida. It's either going to be administrative or judicial. And really the computer selects it. No human does it.
Really?
Yeah. When the moms apply based off the answers that are typed in, the computer decides if it's going to be administrative or judicial. So what I tell people, administrative orders are the devil. So they'll call me and say, I want child support. I never even was served. That right there let me know must be administrative. So even when I look it up, I'm like, oh, it's because you have an administrative order. But administrative is they do everything in-house when it comes to child support. They don't have to take you to court. If they verify through the U.S. Postal Service that this is an address for you, that's it. They don't have to technically have a sheriff come out to move forward. Judicial, they do. But either way, I don't care what kind it is. If you get served, you only have 20 days to respond. Or if they mail you a packet for the administrative, you only have 20 days to respond. If you're served in them 20 days, you can call Omni Consulting, and guess what we can do? Give you a response to child support, and the case is closed.
Wow.
Want to know why? Because the action that you seek separately from the child support case, it actually supersedes Department of Revenue case. And that's the case that includes time sharing. I just had a client last week. He was bamboozled because he got a packet. He came into his appointment, but he was like, oh, look, my baby mama trying to give me every other weekend. And I can say this because it's the truth, but that court, there is a time sharing order that comes in administrative packets. Y'all, that thing is fake. It's not enforceable in the court of law. What happened when I was working for child support, like I said, men were coming in complaining, crying, whatever. And then I feel like the people in Tallahassee was like, oh, well, let's get over on them. Because men would say, y'all want me to pay child support and I cannot see my kid. So they added this little 1-page paper that gives a man every other weekend with his kid. Y'all, that's 48 overnights. That, to me, if you are in close proximity to your child, you live in maybe the county over, every other weekend is a horrible timeshare plan. I don't care if you the mama or the daddy. Don't do that to yourself. That's a disservice to your child, because every other weekend is not okay. So nonetheless, they put that in there. But the only way it even goes into effect, the mom has to sign it and the dad has to sign it. So if one person doesn't, it doesn't go into effect. But even if it does, allegedly, you go, if your baby mama don't give you your baby every other weekend, and you go to the Department of Revenue and say, hey, I'm not getting my kid, They're going to say they ain't got nothing to do with us. You need to file a case in the court. But then that's when you call Brianna, because I know what case they want you to file. But I don't even want y'all to get that far because I want y'all to beat the baby mama to the punch. But if your baby mama call and say, they not paying me, they're going to suspend your license, put you in jail, hold you in contempt, all sorts of things, because it's not a real order. So in order for child support to have any bearing on the outcome of how much you'll pay, on the calculator, you have to have at least 73 overnights with your child. But even y'all, 73, that's 20% of the time. Why would you want that? I help men who maybe they live in another state and the child lives in Florida. So they get a 80-20, because you really you can't get your kid too much if you live in another state. But if y'all live in the same state, most of the time people live in the same city. Please don't go for 80-20, not even a 70-30. Y'all need to see 60-40 or 50-50. Okay? Because it's child support I keep speaking about, but that's really not even a goal. I want your kid to be with you as much time as possible. Right. They don't always have to be with the mom. And then, I get moms who will call because they want to do it, because they don't just want to be 100% parent either. Right. They want to split the responsibility, but nah, men have been known to do some crazy things because, most men know if I'm on a child's birth certificate, I could keep my kid. I don't have to give the kid back to the mama. But why would y'all want to do that to the kid, first of all? Because the kid didn't ask to be in the middle of y'all drama. It hurts the kid. It's not hurting the mom or the dad. So don't do that. There is a legal system out there that helps you where you can get your kid, the mom can get the kid. And then if child support was a factor, we can calculate that help you calculate that to where it's going to be fair. So, because most men, and I'm not saying that it's okay because it's immature. If you put on child support and you don't want anything else to do with your kid, don't call me because I don't want to help them kind. But just if you listening and you are that man, rethink that. Like the kid, unfortunately, the kid did not ask. It's a fine line between I ain't want to be a daddy anyway. She shouldn't have had the kid. Listen, I hear all of that, but ultimately, it's a kid here, and not only does the child need to be with both sides of their family, mom and dad, the kid needs time with both parents. So, baby mamas, relationship ended. Hey, y'all heard what I said? That man cheated on me, okay? And he married her. Let me throw that in. But when he called for his kids, I did not tell him no. It didn't matter the feelings that I had toward him or even her. And I'm not going to tell y'all that I handled it, as mature as I would now. I was in my 20s, probably about to be, hitting 30. But nonetheless, I did not deny him the right to be with his kids, because even though he did what he did, those were still his children at the end of the day. So everybody is not that mature, unfortunately. And then how I see it too, because a lot of men, this is for unmarried men. Let me say that, because the law works in married men's favor automatically if you get a divorce. But for unmarried men, if you have a child with somebody, one thing I believe in, y'all hate me, but I believe every man should get a DNA test. Don't ask me the stories on that and what I've seen from working at child support and people coming in my office. But I don't care if you was with them girl every day, okay? Women, we could be slick. Get you a DNA test before you sign the birth certificate. I don't care what nobody say. You do not have to sign a birth certificate in the hospital. You can go after the fact if necessary. And Omni Consulting can help you to add it after you establish your rights. So the second thing that I suggest all unmarried people to do, establish your parental rights. Because even if you are able to co-parent with your mom, with the baby mama, that is great. But remember, you got from now until the child is 18, and then it doesn't just say this is my time with my children. It's other things that are established there too. You get to know when your child is going to travel. You get to be on the emergency contact for everything concerning your child. You got to be on a pickup list, doctor, dentist, daycare, school, extracurricular activities. Because y'all know that if a woman know that she got control of a situation, she going to take control of the situation. It's so many men that come into my office, they don't even know what school their kid go to.
Wow.
Because the mama won't tell them. But all of that stuff go out the window because, like I said, the court presumes that everybody's supposed to have equal rights of the kid. And when you get a court order, it establishes all all those rights. Not just that you can get your kid, but it establishes every right that you need from now until your child is 18.
So I have two follow-up questions. Okay. The first one is about what you were just saying, right? So trying to make sure I say it. With that, the father that say if they didn't get the DNA test and they did sign that that birth certificate, right? Is that something that Omni Consultants can help do when they find out that once the DNA test comes back, you are not the father, or
Correct. So, this is what I'm gonna tell y'all. If you sign a birth certificate and later on you find out you're not the dad, there is a chance for you to overcome that. But I'm gonna be honest, it's like a Oprah Winfrey type thing. Depending on how the judge feel that day, you get a DNA test, you get a DNA test, you get a DNA test. But they could really say you should not have signed, because if y'all read the fine print on the birth certificate, it don't say I'm signing this because I believe I'm the biological dad. It says I am assuming the responsibility as the legal dad.
wow, didn't know that.
It does. You're assuming responsibility, the responsibility that you are the legal father of that child. Legal father and a bio father are different. Bio father, obviously, your DNA is inside of that child. Legal father means you're legally responsible. It's kind of like a stepfather type vibe. But you can overcome it. What I typically tell people is it is best if you have any, if you have a question about a child, go to Walgreens or just go to a store and purchase a DNA test, do a home DNA test and get those results, because there's a question on the motion that you filed that asks if you've already, like, what's your proof today that it's not your kid? And you can attach that, and that will help you. It just is better in the court to help you to be able for the judge to say, you know what, we'll let you do a court ordered DNA test. So yes, you can, but it's a little harder because I know these are people I know personally. It went either way. One man, he ain't a child. He's not the dad. He on child support for that child. He angry about it, but the judge said, nope, you shouldn't have signed. And then, other times they say, okay, now for a man that's on child support and realizes this might not be my kid, you could still do the same thing. Try to get the baby mouth swab. But in order for them to lean towards, like, in your favor, you got to be paying your child support. So if you have an arrears, they look at that, because remember, it's a order. They don't care if it's not your child. The order said to pay, because whatever happened, you put your name on the birth certificate. You shouldn't have did that. And then speaking of that, if you're not on the birth certificate and you're served with child support papers, more than likely that's going to be a judicial case. Sometimes it's administrative, but long story short, don't try to not do it, because if they deem you as the father in default, KB, it's hard to come back from that if you're not the daddy, because they're going to say, we gave you an opportunity to say you're not the dad. You ignored us, so we deemed you the dad in default. Wow. I don't even help people to try that, because I want to be 100% successful. So I don't take on cases that I'll be like, I get you a lawyer. I don't want to help them kind of people, because it just doesn't really work in their favor. So yes, you can. It's a process. You can overcome it, but they used to, the drugstore DNA test used to not really hold any weight,
Right.
because you cannot admit them in a court of law. But now, if you have that, they are more apt to say, okay, we'll let you do a DNA test. But I will tell y'all, because I don't know why. Well, I do know why. Because men automatically assume, well, I'm on child support, let me go to Department of Revenue. Man, the people don't care about y'all. You go there and say, that's not even my child. They going to say, yeah, you missed the payment, sir. You want to go to jail today or tomorrow? Don't go to them. You need to seek either you contact the lawyer if that's what you want to do, but you can come to Omni Consulting and we can help you to overcome it. That's why I offer that free 15-minute phone conversation, because I don't really want everybody to just book without speaking to me. So some services, if you go on oh my God, I forgot to give you my website. We'll do that in a minute. If you go on my website, the services are there, but these kind of tedious services that have nuances, I need to talk to you first to make sure that I'm going to be able to offer you the right service. Because, maybe sometimes you do have to go to an attorney, because that's beyond me, definitely beyond my pay grade.
So before I ask the next question, your website.
Yes. So if you would like to book an appointment, and I'm going to say a couple things before that, before I give it. If you would like to book an appointment, first, you definitely have to have an address to have the other party served. I cannot help you if the other party cannot be served by a sheriff. So the sheriff has to go there. But they don't have to be the ones to accept it. Some people think they do, but they don't. So as long as somebody opens the door that is 15 years of age or older, they can accept the paperwork. And maybe you might not know their address. Do you know their sister address, their mama address, their brother address? They just need to be served. Do you know where they work? You can give me all of those addresses. And also, I do have a way to look up people's addresses as well. So don't let not knowing right now be the reason to stop you. And then secondly, I'll go ahead and tell you how much the service costs. It's $425, y'all. It's a flat rate. So the only time anything extra would be paid to me is if the other person hires a lawyer. Not that I care, because the law's still law. Again, whether Johnny Cochran on the other side or not. But it's because I have to do more paperwork that I really wouldn't have to do if a lawyer was not on the case. But it's $425. That's my fee from start to finish. That is my fee to assist somebody. And then when you do book the appointment, it only requires you to pay a $50 deposit that goes towards your total balance. So the day of your appointment, you pay the balance of $375. So here is the website. It is omniconsultingfl.com. OMNICONSULTINGFL.com. You can go right on there and book, or as I stated earlier, y'all can call me or text me and I'll send the link to you and I'll tell you what you need to book. If what you're needing is time sharing, if you do not have a time sharing plan with your children or your child, and I don't care if you're on child support or not, you are going to book time sharing and parenting plan. Do not book modification of child support. That's not what you need. That is going to come in the service that I provide. Time sharing and parenting plan. Now, if you not divorced, if you need a divorce, maybe you married to the mother of your kid. Listen, y'all, the packet to be divorced and for time sharing, guess what? It's the exact same. Only difference is one says divorce, one says time sharing.
Wow.
Right. It's the same paperwork. That's really crazy to me, but it's the same paperwork. So if you want to get divorced, hey, I got you. Now, if you want to stay married to somebody, but you still want to see your kids, why would you want to do that? I'm confused, but I can help you as well if you're not trying to let go of the marriage.
So,
People do that. That's what I'm saying. That I don't know why, but they do.
so before I ask my next question, I definitely want to hit on, because a lot of people, we live in a world where we're like, oh, 425, but I look at it from a standpoint, one, the value of time with your kids is way more expensive. Also, if you can save yourself from spending a certain amount every month in child support, 425 is pennies.
No,
It is.
wait. Call a lawyer and get a consultation, and then you'll see his pennies, because the consultation is the consultation itself, and then the lawyers, even their what is that fee? Their retainer. Call a lawyer and then see if how you feel then.
No, you're 100% right. I have a friend right now. I won't say the name, but he spent like 2 bands just to find out. Yeah. But no, hear me out. Just to find out that the lawyer's like, oh yeah, I don't think I'm gonna do it. Right. So I ain't gonna say their names. But speaking of another friend of mine, his situation, and I want to ask you this because I feel like there's going to be a lot of fathers that did this before, right? So he went, and there's, what is that called when the other party has a lawyer, you all, before mediation? Went to mediation and wasn't educated and agreed. Now he's paying a crazy amount. Now the mom didn't have the best of job, but long story short, the money that he's paying is for one kid is outrageous.
So he got bamboozled because he probably got. First of all, y'all,
And he had 50.
you sure he got 50-50?
Oh, I know that for a
Like
fact.
he get a child 50%?
Yeah, I know that for a fact.
Yeah,
Yeah. So is there any way, saying that, is there any way that now that she has a better job, or any way that he can go back and lower?
So her increase in her pay would have to be greater than a certain percentage, and I don't want to quote while we're recording because I'm not sure, but I think her increase has to be 20 to 30% higher than what she originally. But then the amount not even gonna be as much as he thinks. Now, if she went over the 50,000 threshold and she maybe started off at 30 or so, he probably would see a difference. I'm willing to talk to him.
Yeah,
Because you could, people don't even realize it, but you could do a mock child support calculator online. Of course, it's not a guarantee of the amount, but give or take, that's the amount. So you can do kind of a mock child support calculator on a Google search.
so because he signed the agreement, if more.
He can modify it, but typically you cannot modify child support for 3 years after it's entered unless there's a drastic change.
Well, I mean, it's been way past.
Yeah, he can consider modifying it.
And the only reason I was asking that is because I'm pretty sure there's other fathers out there that have sat into, because honestly, until today, I didn't know a lot. Like what you said, I'm like, dang, I didn't know, like, knock on wood, but yeah. So I'm pretty sure a lot of people, they on point. Now we have this segment where it's called Fathers Unmuted.
Okay.
Discussing with dads. First of all, shout out to our sponsors, Move in Love, Wolves of Real Estate, Crumble Dreams, the Arca Foundations, and hopefully discuss with dads. We trying to get y'all, man. We trying to get y'all to sponsor us. But since we're trying to do that, we go ahead and do our 2-card question. Ready?
Yes.
So you're going to pick 2 cards, and then you're just going to read them and answer. Now, normally, these are questions that go to dad.
Oh.
But we got to stick with tradition.
Okay.
You got 1. There you got 2. I'll give you another one. So you guys. Discuss with the dads.
All right. So it says, how did you meet your closest friends and how have they shaped your life? So I ain't gonna lie, y'all. I only have a lot of friends. That's so crazy. I'm not a cliquish kind of female. If you got vibes, I'm there. But I have had a friend. Her name is Martha. I can say her name. We have been friends since high school, 9th grade. And I graduated in 99. So we've been friends for 30 years. So I met her at Oak Ridge High School in Orlando, Florida. But boy, we have lived a life together. Okay. We had some good times, some bad times, party together. We had great lives together. But what I'll say is what has really shaped us, and I don't know if everybody is a believer, but I am, is really our closeness to God. So even when we probably were not being godly women, we still had some type of form or belief. But now that she and I are both 45, mothers, married, our conversations are way different. So being her friend has shaped being in her family has shaped me into part of the woman that I am as it relates to my relationship with God. And then how I view people, how I view family, how I view friendships, relationships in general. It comes from the relationship that I have with my friend Martha. She probably watch it whenever I tell her to watch it. But I just want to let her know that I love her. And we don't speak often. We don't see each other often because life be lifing for the both of us. But she's a friend forever, is what I'll say.
Shout out to Martha.
Yes.
Shout out to Martha. She just sent love, gave you roses, everything just now.
And then what's the best gift you ever received and why? So, well, I do like nice things. I'm not a materialistic person, and this might be it might mean nothing to people. Okay, so I have a woman, God, I'm about to get her name too, but her name is Minister Shay. That's what I call her, but I call her my church mom. So she and I met each other through church, and she's been my church mom for a while. But nonetheless, maybe like 10 years ago, she just came to the hospital. My uncle was in the hospital. He was deathly ill. She came to the hospital to pray for him. And she gave me this little rock. And it had Psalms 20. Is it Psalms 23 on it? And I keep the rock in my purse, y'all, because it just is a constant reminder, of who God is. Because, hey, I am a believer, but it's that rock. And even when I change purses, I put the rock in there because it's a gift that, I don't even know how much she paid for it, but it just helps me to always have faith in God. And my uncle was death. He has gone on. He passed away, but it wasn't even during that time. But he was so sick. The doctors had told us that he wasn't going to live through the night. He was so sick, but he did end up living about 4 more years. But he, eventually passed away. But it's a rock, y'all. That's the best gift ever.
I love that you say that because I'm a firm believer. Like, yeah, we love the nice things, but I realize that it's the intentional things that stand out the most. A lot of people look beyond that. Like when they're talking Valentine's Day, birthdays, and whatever, it's always, oh, how many roses and all this. But what have you paid attention to that I did? So I love that rock is, it don't even have like the value way more. So definitely. So you just did the Fathers Unmuted, discuss with Dad. Now I have more questions for you.
Okay.
Um, what would you tell men to watch out for when it comes to manipulation before they even get to that point of child support or anything else, divorces, whatever it is? What would you say that you see a lot that they should pay attention to?
Y'all just do it. You don't even have to look for signs because, I get stories where, honey, sometimes I'd be like, tell me why you had a baby with her. But then sometimes this stuff, them men be blindsided. They can't believe it. I get repeat clients. You wanna know why? The girl, they have a child, then they come to me. The girl they with now, watch them go through the whole case, turn around and do the same thing. Don't listen, y'all. And I'm not mad at women, but I'm just men. You can't, what them songs say, you cannot trust okay, listen. People will flip. Men flip, women flip.
Right.
When a woman had that child, they'll really flip. Things might be cordial. If y'all decide to break up, we decided to do this together. Okay, come around with another woman in the car. Watch what happens to you real quick. But even if your baby mama don't show signs of that, just do it because again, it's protecting your rights from now until the child is 18. I even forgot to mention about moving. You know, if you get your rights established, y'all actually bound to live within 50 miles of each other from now until the time little Johnny turn 18. Baby mamas like to up and move out of state with the kid because, they got more support. Man, the court don't care about that when you got a court order. So listen, it's not really even any sign. Sometimes you know, sometimes you just don't know.
Right.
Why you want to wait? Me personally, like I said, get a DNA test and establish your parental rights. Baby mama might be a little mad. Now, if ultimately you gonna marry little Johnny mama, then y'all in love and y'all probably ain't gonna have no problems. But I do divorces, so just remember, tell people be my clients too. But I just feel like you should do it to establish your rights. So that way it's never a question. And to be honest, if your baby mama is as nice and as cordial and cooperative and want to co-parent as she says, she won't mind signing the papers because she gonna be like, it should be fair that he should have equal rights in black and white of the child that we created together. And I have had men and women come in together because they want to go ahead and establish that so that they ain't got to worry about if somebody gonna flip out later on in life. And then, take away the control. Men, y'all can control the narrative too. You don't have to wait for somebody to threaten you or put you on child support. Man, go file the papers yourself. But remember, if you do it on your own, child support verbiage is in the paperwork, but based on the outcome of your time sharing, child support, the number probably more than likely will work in your favor. So, I don't know any signs to look for.
So let me ask. So, you got my mind just going. I'm sorry. No, that's a good thing. So what if they didn't do the custody, right? And then she ended up leaving. What does that look like?
You better have an address to where she going because in this state, correct. Y'all, I'm speaking from what I see men go through. First of all, you have to have an address. So you are a resident of wherever you live at for 6 months or greater. So if the baby mama takes a child, I just use Georgia because everybody go to Georgia and Texas. Move to Georgia or Texas, by law, the child is still a Florida resident. You can get the baby mama served in Georgia or Texas. She got to bring your baby back. But if she don't give you an address, 6 months done pass, now you got to fight the state that your child live in, and you're not going to get 50-50. You're going to have an 80-20.
Man, there's no way.
I'm just telling y'all what I know.
So, shout out to my friend. I'm gonna pay the $50 for you. I'm gonna pay. I'm gonna get the link today, and I'm gonna pay it. So, shout out to my friend. But Cash App, Zelle, Cash, paying that without being on child support, does that hold?
Oh, that's a good question. So, my suggestion, if you're going to give the mother of your child money, you send it through Zelle, through the bank. Bank to bank, you really can't go wrong with that. Old-fashioned way money orders. Cash App and Apple Pay, depending on the judge, will work. But if some people just send money, they don't put anything in the subject. You got to put child support or the child's name. And then what I will tell people, I don't care if you gave your baby mama $100 a week since your baby was born. If she want to put you on child support, you're still going to be put on child support. The money that you're giving her will go toward if the court says you owe arrears. So say, and I'm just using a number because everybody's varies. Say I use 10,000 as my number because that's easy to math. Say they say you owe $10,000 in child support back pay is what y'all call it. But you have proof that you giving her $5,000. You still owe $5,000, and you're still gonna be paying ongoing child support. So I do believe that you have a child out here. You do need to give money to help toward raising a child if you don't have a court order that gives you 50-50, because that's different. Because when you have 50-50 or 60-40, you have to spend money when the child is with you too. So that's really what the court takes into consideration. But you don't have a court order. Please send money because kids, they do need to eat. And, but don't think that she can't put you on child support, because she can. I get calls every so often during the week where they done got served. Oh, I do this and I do that. Baby, you could be the world's best father, have a plaque, a trophy, what a t-shirt. If that girl want to put you on child support, you're going to be put on child support. And you're not going to like the number if you don't have a court order already in place that establishes your parental rights of the kid.
What if they lived together and then they finally went different ways? Does that equate in court where, hey, I was paying the bills, we were living in a...
So they will give you credit, but some things got to be into play. You first have to prove that you live there. For whatever reason, some men don't put their names on the lease, or they can't put their names on the lease. I'm not judging anybody, but I'm just telling y'all, most people don't change their driver's license. You got to be able to prove that you live there. And proof is you probably got to be on the lease, or you should be on the lease, and your driver's license need to reflect it. Sometimes people have been able to say, well, this bill was in my name. That can be your proof, because most of the time, if the baby mama know you can't prove you live with her, she's not gonna go to court and say you did.
Right. So, well, let's kind of segue real quick. We'll come back to a child support. Let's talk about the other services that you do. We know divorce, child support. What else? Let's talk.
Oh, okay.
And the only reason I want to do that is because if there's someone watching,
True.
you know what I mean? So we'll revert back.
All right. So I do legal guardianship of children. That's probably my third service. So what legal guardianship is like, so one in Florida, grandparents don't have any rights. It's sad, but they don't. I know y'all, I keep up with court stuff, but it has been some high profile court cases where the grandparent try to get the kid, but the court doesn't rule in the favor of the grandparent.
I've seen that.
So I do legal guardianship. So now if you're a grandma and, say one of the parents passed away, other parent in prison, you've had this child for several years raising a child, but then as kids get older, you find it harder to be able to do things like put them in school, things like that. You can file for legal guardianship. If you're related to the child in any way, you can file for legal guardianship of the child because that gives you rights to be able to do things for the child as if you were the parent. But what I do tell people, the terminology says temporary guardianship because it is temporary until it's no longer in existence. So there are people who get temporary guardianship of maybe a baby and it goes all the way until they're 18. But the reason why I point it out is because guardianship is not always permanent. Say, because usually when people get guardianship, it's something wrong with the other parent. They're probably on drugs in prison. That parent get their life right, they can file the proper paperwork and actually get their kid back. So it's not permanent unless the parent just never come back to get the kid. So that's a touchy situation, but I do it more often than not, if I'm to be honest. And then also for women, I have had, I don't know, it's like it's be this phase of cases, but probably in the last month, I've helped 3 women where they let their child go stay, probably spend a night with the grandparent or something like that. But honey, the grandparent kept the child, never gave the kid back, moved away, changed the phone number. It's crazy.
That's kidnapping.
Yeah, kind of, sort of, not really, because you gave your child to the person. And we don't know what was said, legally. But there is something that you can file where you can actually, if there is nothing legal. So you did not give that person legal custody of your kid. It's something you can file where you can get your kid back. That service is offered. But I also do it's more on the probate side, y'all, but it's guardianship as well of an adult. Most of my clients, if they need guardianship of an adult, it's their child, but perhaps like the child is always going to have to live with the parent. No matter how old they are, they have autism, mental retardation. I do those a lot. It's guardianship, but it's of an adult child. I do name changes. So people change their names all the time. You can change your name. You could be whoever you want to be. They don't care. Some people during a divorce, if a woman wants to change their name back, that's the time where you're supposed to do so. Some women don't do that. They regret it. A year has passed. I do legal name changes. I also assist with name changes of children. That's a fine line because you can't say I want to change my baby name because I don't like daddy no more. That we have to have a conversation to see if in fact the kid's name is able to be changed, because if the dad name is listed on the birth certificate, I don't care if he disappeared 10 years ago, you can't change the kid's last name without his consent. So I get a lot of calls about that.
So this is Fathers Unmuted. You were able to be educated, build the knowledge, grab the knowledge, gravitate to the knowledge. So if you don't actually accept the knowledge, that's the problem. That's why you're silent. So let's not be silent. If you're dealing with any situation when it comes to any service, child support, divorces, time sharing, please reach out to her ASAP. Like she said, the longer you wait, is the longer you're without your little one. And kids spell love Time. This is the pod. See you guys soon.
We can show you how to carry the weight even when you feel lost. Fathers unmuted. Still two-stepping through the chaos, falling like the playoffs. Fathers unmuted.